Well, busy day. Busy day. I recorded Days of Our Sooners today and this. And also, school was just crazy. So, yes, if I seem a little more muted than usual, that is why. I've had a very long day. Um, Not really much else to say aside from that. So, let's get into this video while I still have enough energy to keep going. Hello everyone, Britton here, also known as Some Okie Dude, and I am back today with a What I Read in August. It's a little bit later than I usually do them. I like to do them during the first week of the month, but some other videos took precedence, so I thought you guys wouldn't mind if you had to wait a little longer, because, you know, you guys just love to hear what I read during the months that I'm, doing stuff. Now, I didn't get too much done, because let me tell you, school eats up a lot of my time. But I actually did a lot better than I thought I would. I completed some books. I even completed some comics, believe it or not. I promised I was going to do some catching up on some comics, and I did just that. I got started on some comics I've been wanting to read for a while. Some of them were very good, and some of them were fantastic. So I'm looking forward to talking about them today. I even watched some movies, and I'll explain that a little more as the video goes on. So I guess I should get into it before I ramble on for too long, because you guys know me. I absolutely love to ramble. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do. So let's get to it while we're, still on track. First book I have here is one I've been wanting to read for a while, and that is Bluebird, Bluebird by Attica Locke. Not really much to say about this book. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Kind of a noir book, kind of a small town mystery. Small town noir, I guess, would be a good way to put it. It's a Texas novel. Texas is always getting the lion's share of the attention in the literary world. For some reason, writers are just really fascinated by Texas. Can you tell I'm not jealous at all? But this was a good book, though. There's a lot of really great lines in this. There's one in particular that I marked down that I thought was really good. I don't want to get it right now because, again, I'm tired and I'm feeling lazy and I don't want to do it. So you can just deal with that. But I thought this was a really good book. I don't know if it's as good as like S.A. Cosby stuff in terms of African American noir, or even Walter Mosley when he's on form, like with Devil in a Blue Dress. But this was very good. This was very solid. If you're a fan of S.A. Cosby or Walter Mosley, I would recommend this book. Hell of a cliffhanger, I will say that. The ending of this book is very good. You really want to figure out what's going on next. It is pretty good as a noir. I mean, I have my opinions on noir and what noir is and what makes a noir. This checks most of the list box. It was a good palate cleanser read for me because I had just read Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, and then I had also read some other big books, so I thought I would slow down a little bit. And I read Bluebird, Bluebird, and I thought it was really good. So I'm just going to put that down now. Get to the next book. Next book is my good friend Joe Burns' Return of the Griffin. Yes, this is the one where he fights the evil sharks. Well, they're not actually evil. He goes into it. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. This is a book about a guy who is in space, who has superpowers. He's basically a superhero, who is punching sharks that are invading Earth. How is this not the stupidest thing ever written? I love you, Joe, so please don't take that personally. It's really not, though. He really takes this kind of silly concept and he runs with it. He takes it completely seriously. And he does a thing that a lot of superhero stories are not doing nowadays, and what I think makes a great superhero story, that is sincerity. Write that down. I have ranted about it a couple times, but this is a sincere superhero story about a guy who wants to do good. He is flawed. He has average flaws. Well, he has a past. But I really liked the themes in this. I really like, again, Joe has surprised me with some of the thematic depth in this book and the depth of the characters. And we kind of see Rohan facing his past. He's been kind of running away from it for a while. And in this book, he really has to confront his past. We end up meeting his mom. We end up meeting some of his old friends from Earth. We end up meeting some of the Earth superheroes. But he also manages to do it in a really well-penned, fun superhero adventure. I had a great time with this. With really good characters and really good storytelling. For the most part, I was very impressed. It's very much Joe having fun with the superhero genre. This is more of a traditional superhero story than the last one. The last one was kind of, let's do superheroes on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which was great. I really enjoyed it. But this one was really fun too. If you're a fan of more traditional superhero stuff, go nuts. This is great. And you might think that the evil mega sharks who are like, tearing it up, you might think that's a little ridiculous. They are actually really threatening in this. But believe it or not, it is not a joke. It is not some... Now, they do kind of point out the absurdity of the evil sharks with legs running around and just throwing down with everyone and destroying the Earth. But they take it serious. But Joe takes it seriously, and it's a very good book. So check it out. Hybrid Helix is one of those series that is a great palate cleanser, but there's also a lot of intelligence that's put into these books. You can put that on a blurb, Joe, if you want. I really like this series so far, and while I was initially hesitant because I just get weirded out with superheroes in forms that are not comic books, Joe, he's really good. Great storyteller, and he's a really intelligent writer. Read it. Read the first book. Read this one. Great stuff. I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, Return of the Griffin. Some great stuff. Now I'm going to move on to the comics. I have some good ones here. Some ones I've been meaning to get to for a while. Ones I've been wanting to do for a long time. I just kept pushing it back because of reasons. Believe it or not, my book of the month, I don't usually do these, but my book of the month was a comic. And what was that book of the month for you? Well, good question. It was actually Astro City by Kurt Busiek, Brent Anderson, and Alex Ross. There have been a lot of really great superhero reconstruction stories. All-Star Superman, DC The New Frontier, Marvels by Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross, which is a superhero comic I recommend heartily. I did do my top superhero comic suggestions. I'll put that down below. Marvels was sadly not on the list, though it was on the honorable mentions. You can check down in the comments below. But Astro City, I really do think, joins among the best of the superhero reconstructions. Again, as I mentioned with Return of the Griffin, what makes a good superhero story? One word: sincerity. And Kurt Busiek understands that as well as Darwyn Cooke, Grant Morrison, even Alan Moore. As cynical and dark as he can be with stuff like Watchmen, he knows this. He knows to make a good superhero comic, you have to be sincere. You have to talk about these absolutely outlandish concepts with sincerity. That's what makes the superhero genre work. And unfortunately, that is an art that has been lost because Alan Moore's take on superheroes kind of took over the world. And now superheroes are all gritty and dark. Well, not all of them, but a good majority of them have been touched by Alan Moore. In some good ways and some bad ways. So, take that what you will. But Astro City was fantastic. It does take a minute to get going. I know there's a lot of people who say that. But let me tell you, the Confessor arc and the Nearness of You, which has literally jumped up as one of my best single issues of comics of all time, phenomenal. Deeply moving stuff. This is how superheroes ought to be written. If it weren't written so badly so often. That's actually a future video idea. Maybe I'll get Joe on and we could talk about it. But that's something I would like to complain about. But Astro City does what a lot of superheroes don't do, which is sincerity. You have to have that if you're going to create a good superhero comic. and Kurt Busiek understands this. I love Marvels, and now I really love Astro City. I see what the hype was about. The Confessor arc is phenomenal. I just so good. Really, how to tell a great story in a comic book. And the Nearness View, of course, was a phenomenal single issue, and that was only like a single issue story. Unbelievable. But yeah, Astro City is fantastic. Check it out. I may do a review of it at some point. Don't know when that'll be, but hopefully soon. Astro City is a fantastic read. Some really good artwork from Brent Anderson, though I find that it really shines with the Alex Ross artwork. I don't consider him one of my favorites, but man, I respect his talent. He's basically, if I could describe him, Norman Rockwell doing superheroes. If you could see, the cover is a Alex Ross cover. Elegant, really knows how to make superheroes look awesome. Great stuff. I really like Astro City a lot. And I can see why so many people have such love for Astro City. Really good stuff. Just really, really good stuff. So let's keep going, shall we? 100 Bullets. I finally started 100 Bullets. This is a series I've been meaning to start forever by Brian Azzarello, who wrote the fantastic Joker comic and also Lex Luthor Man of Steel, which are great. I highly recommend both of them. But this was really his first big hit, and he did it with Eduardo Rizzo, who is a phenomenal artist. I really like the cartoon-like art. You can see that there. I'm trying not to get too explicit here. It's kind of a crime of the week type of show at first, or kind of comic at first. It's kind of one-shots about these characters. I'll pitch you the concept real quick. So the concept is, and it'll suck you in, I promise. The premise is that there's this guy. His name's Agent Graves. That's him right there. He comes to random people who've been screwed over in some way in the past and offers them a briefcase, which you can see right there, which has irrefutable evidence that somebody screwed another person over in the past. He gives it to the person who was screwed over. A gun and 100 bullets that are untraceable. That will basically make you above the law. And he leaves you with a choice. Do whatever you want to do with that information that I just gave you. And what we get out of it is really quite fascinating. And I really like the bait and switch of this volume. It goes from a kind of crime a week, this kind of taking this concept, playing with it, kind of seeing what works and what doesn't. And then it turns into like it turns into a conspiracy thriller about halfway through, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, I would put this under the pretty good. I quite enjoyed reading this. I really especially enjoyed the art from Eduardo Rizzo. Let me just look at some. I'm going to try not to get too explicit here, because there's a couple of explicit stuff in this. There's some good basis of art. It's very good. I like Rizzo's style. Him and Azzarello work very well together. I do know Azzarello from his work with Lee Bermejo, who is one of my favorite artists. He's definitely one of my favorite concurrent artists working today. But, I like Rizzo as well. They also did Moonshine together. I've only read the first volume of that comic, but I really liked it from what I remember. Or, I liked it some. I thought it was a little tropey. But I like the idea of gangsters and werewolves, and Rizzo's art was really good in that, and it's really good in this too. I mean, my God. Let me look at some of these. Some of the paneling is really good, and some of the storytelling as it goes on gets really, really good. Another one I really like is when the character from the first story is in France, and she meets the journalist who's like a member of this weird ancient conspiracy, and he basically tells the backstory of how he figured out what was going on, because he was made the offer by Graves, and instead of doing anything about it, he decided, I'm going to figure out what this is. It's really, really good. I won't spoil what happens. But yeah, 100 Bullets, I can see why a lot of people really like it. I can't wait to continue on with this series. I'm looking forward to seeing what else happens next. So that is all things literary that I read during the month of August. I'm going to talk about some films I saw, which was not much. I actually did a couple of rewatches, which I don't usually talk about because I feel like I would just be wasting breath. But I changed my mind. I'm going to talk about some of them from time to time. I won't do this always. But I did go on a bit of a rewatching spree after watching a particular film. And the film I did watch, the first film I'll talk about, is Alien Romulus. Now, Alien Romulus, I know Alien has been kind of shitty for some time. Ridley Scott came back, did Prometheus, which, you know, is one of those really polarizing films where, my God, there's a good film in there, but the characters and just the storytelling, there are stupid decisions that are made that are clear that they were made just to keep the story going. But there is a good movie in there. It's just hampered by a lot of dumb crap that doesn't need to be there. And Alien Covenant just amps that up to 11. So, I mean, you know, it's frustrating. But Alien Romulus kind of brings everything back to basics. Made by the guy who did Don't Breathe, which was actually a really good movie. I really like that. I've heard this film literally be described as Don't Breathe in space, which is actually not a bad way to describe it, though I don't know if the characters in this movie are as good as the characters in Don't Breathe. Though, Kaylee Spanny, though. Anyway, good movie, though. Really great suspense. Really brings back what made Alien great in the first place, which is there's this perfect organism hunting you down, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. There are a couple things that'll probably piss off long-time fans, but I've grown tired of that crap. You know what? If you don't like that stuff, then don't freaking watch the movie. If you know, it just feels disingenuous. But Alien Romulus, all around, was a pretty good movie, I thought. A pretty solid direction that the Alien franchise is going in, and I thought it was solid. Which brought me back to some rewatches. I rewatched Alien, which is my second favorite monster movie of all time. It is definitely in my top 5 horror films of all time. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I actually prefer this more than Aliens. And I like Aliens. I think Aliens is a good movie. But Aliens is more of an action movie, which that's not bad. It's really good, and of course James Cameron, his reputation kind of precedes him. He is a very good director, I think. Well, back in the 80s he was a good director, before he decided that Dancing with Smurf Cats was a great idea. Which just, oh my God, don't even get me started on Avatar. I freaking hate that movie. Alien, though, masterpiece. Just absolute masterpiece. Shut up, alarm. Masterpiece on all levels. Phenomenal storytelling. Phenomenal world design. My God, the design in that movie was insane. And phenomenal acting, of course, from Sigourney Weaver, Ian Holm, the late Ian Holm, the late John Hurt. It's an iconic movie. What can I say about it? It's a great film. Now, I kind of went down the rabbit hole. I kind of watched Aliens a little bit. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was attracted back to the first Terminator film by James Cameron. You know, for a film as iconic as the Terminator, I'm kind of shocked how underrated it is in comparison to Judgment Day. And don't get me wrong, I like Judgment Day a lot. It's one of the greatest action films ever made. I'm not going to dispute that. It's a great film. I love it a lot. But there's something about the Terminator that just attracts me more. I really love the just grungy, disturbing atmosphere of the movie. There's this bleak sense that everything is going to hell. Arnold is genuinely intimidating as the Terminator. I know a lot of people. I will agree on this. I do think that the T-1000 from Judgment Day is a far better and scarier villain. But I do think Arnie is a good villain. I think he's genuinely intimidating, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Max Landis made the good point for once in his life that Arnie is not showing, it's not that he doesn't show emotion. He's showing no emotion. Also, Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese is one of my favorite action heroes of all time. deeply underrated, I think. Michael Biehn, that man is a gem. I think he's phenomenal in the movie. And he's also great in Aliens as well. I really like Michael Biehn. He's an underrated gem, and I do wish that he had more films, but of course, nature takes its course. But yeah, so that's basically all I consumed in August. And as for Terminator, it's still my favorite Terminator. It is a horror movie, E.L. Montague. You can fight me about that. We were talking about that in the in our podcast the other day. But The Terminator is a horror film. Don't even at me. So, take that. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. You can like, subscribe, do all that stuff. You can find me on Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram, Blue Sky. I don't really use Blue Sky, but you can find me on there. I am also on Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I write reviews that are probably more coherent than the one you just heard right now. Like I said, like, subscribe, as my friend John Minton at Talking Story likes to say. It feels good, and let me tell you something, Jacob, you do feel that tingle. You do feel it a little bit, but I'm trying not to cramp John's style too much. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I like making it. I like making these, keeping up with everything. So, yeah, till next time. See you guys later.